Okay, so you're thinking, why in the world with would 15% interest rates be the absolute best time to buy? Well, it's an arbitrary number. I'm Realtor Bert today, and I want to tell you the point I'm trying to make. When rates are high and you can qualify for a higher interest rate, well, guess what? A lot of other folks cannot, right? And when they cannot, that means that there's less competition. A lot of folks are not going to be able to qualify when the rates are higher, but you can. So you're in a unique position. And in doing so, you're also in a stronger position with the sellers, right? So because the market has slowed, as we all know. February 2024 numbers just came out last week, and I always share that with my audience to tell them, where the San Antonio housing market is at. So let's recap real quick. So 80 days on market, it's up 11% over February last year. And then we're all looking at about 4.2 months of inventory. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that theoretically, if not another house gets listed for sale, then it would take 4.2 months in order for all the existing inventory to sell. Theoretically, right? That's today's market, right? So wouldn't you rather go to one of those sellers, one of those 12,000 listings that are active on the MLS, the multiple listing service right now, and wouldn't you rather go to one of those sellers and tell them, hey, look, I'm a qualified buyer, I'm ready, I'm willing and able, I've achieved that RWA status, and buy that house now, and then of course look to refi whenever the time comes, right? When rates do come down, you refinance. So the absolute worst time to buy is when rates are low. And let me explain. Because basically now everyone's going to qualify for that house, right? And people are dying to get into houses right now. They're dying to buy houses. They've been parked on the sidelines for a long time now. A long time being, a year, going on a year and a half. And once those rates do come down, there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand, right? And the sellers are going to become like they did, let's say 2-3 years ago, and they're going to price their home at ridiculously high prices, and people are going to overpay from there, right? Now that's just not smart real estate. And the other thing is that you're going in with negative equity when you're overpaying, right? 2 years ago, buyers were not practicing smart real estate. They were overpaying for a house if they could even squeeze out an appraisal, because remember, it has to appraise for value, and not. Then because the banks are always going to send an appraiser, they're not going to loan you more than what the house is worth, right? That house collateralizes the mortgage. That's what they take back if you quit paying, right? So they're only going to finance what the house is worth, right? So if the house is worth $200,000, but you're willing to pay $210,000, right? Then you're looking at $10,000 of negative equity that you're now into the house. It's going to take years for that particular neighborhood to catch up to 210,000 where you're at, just to break even, right? Because it's when it's the houses are overpriced, then you go in with negative equity. So should you be concerned? Well, let's kind of just say this, right? That same 10, 12, 15, 20, 30,000 over asking price that you're willing to pay in a bidding war in the near future, when rates do finally come down, and they will most likely. We don't know when. Anybody who says online that they know when, nobody's crystal ball. They're lying. So you could give the lender that money for a buy down of the rate. Well, what is that? Well, there's something called a secondary mortgage market, right? That's where the investors will purchase the notes, right? The promissory note, the mortgage. And what they're basically doing is when they buy down the rate, they're basically saying, okay, well, here is the rate at the lower. Here's the note at the lower interest rate, but they've already prepaid that buy down. They prepaid the interest, the future interest, in other words, right? That's what that really is, right? But the sad part about it is that a lot of buyers are on the sidelines right now, and they're waiting for those rates to come down. And what's going to happen is that once they do come down, we're going to have tons of buyers flooding the marketplace, thereby raising the house prices even higher. Do you think that house prices are kind of high now. Wait till you get to, a point where everybody floods back into the marketplace again, right? But let me ask you, did you know that there's a difference between securing a house and securing a mortgage? That's right. Let me give that to you again. There's a difference between securing a house and securing a mortgage. They're two entirely different things. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier to get a home at a fair market value right now. I just told you some of the numbers in San Antonio. 12,000 active listings, folks. Let's get you to RWA status at today's rates. And by the way, it's not 15%. That's like more than double than what it is right now, right? It's still below historical averages, right? From going back to 1971 when Fannie Mae first started to track the 30-year fixed mortgage rate, which is, I think, on average about 7.76%. They're in the sixes right now. So it's not anywhere near 15%, right? It's an arbitrary number, as I mentioned from the beginning, right? But you get the point that when rates are higher and you can qualify, you're at a distinct advantage over everybody else because it's a competition. Whether you're buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, it's always a competition that you're entering into. So you have to ask yourself, how am I going to win that competition? Well, guess what? If you're an RWA buyer, you've achieved that RWA status, then you're in a great position, right? In fact, you can even negotiate repairs now. Maybe some closing costs. We're seeing that across the board. Right now, as a listing professional, when I go into my listing appointments, I share that data, the empirical data with my home sellers in the listing appointment. Hey, listen, here's where I think the home's going to sell at. It's a range, but the home's going to sell here. And by the way, be prepared to pay this in terms of closing costs. Why would I contribute to their closing costs? Very simply put, because that's the norm here in this neighborhood. And here's the average of what people are willing to contribute for people's closing costs. Okay, so let's do that instead. Secure a house at a fair price and maybe even negotiate some goodies for you, right? Closing costs, repairs, because guess what? Not only during the height of the frenzy a couple of years ago, were people overpaying for houses like I was telling you earlier, but guess what else? They were waiving inspections, waiving the due diligence period. No, that's okay. I'm good. I'm cool. I'll just buy the house. It's as is, right? I mean, it says so in the contract. I'll just buy it as is. Can I tell you how foolish that is? So when I work with buyers, on the other hand, I tell them all the same thing, right? I'm not going to recommend that you get a home inspection done. I'm going to insist upon it. I'm going to insist upon you getting a home inspection. You have to know what's going on with that home. What is materially wrong with that house? Because it doesn't matter if you're working with an inspector with 2 years experience or 32 years experience. They're always going to tell you the same thing, which is that, hey, no house is perfect. Every house has something going on, right? Is it 18 pages of 18-page report worth of repairs or things that are going wrong with the house? Or is it a 32-page inspection report that I've seen? That's a big difference, 14 pages, right? My goodness. So try negotiating repairs when the market gets hot again. That's another thing. Try it. Just try it, right? And try asking for closing costs as well. Hey, listen, you can just forget that idea right now because you're going to overpay when all those buyers come out, to purchase houses, right? And then, of course, you refi as you need to, right? When rates do come down, and they should, then it's a different discussion, right? Instead of shopping for a mortgage and then entering into the marketplace with everybody else, you're going to be shopping for a refinance loan, right? And it's so much easier than waiting to buy and then overpaying for the house later. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Mark my words, not because I've got a crystal ball or because I'm the good Lord's gift to, the real estate business or something like that. I just know so much more than everybody else. No, it's simple logic. It's supply and demand. Right now, the demand is not there and the supply is definitely there. So you know what? Leverage that. Work with me and let's leverage that to your advantage, right? We're still going to be fair with the sellers. We're not going to steal their house. You know, we want a win-win situation, but it's going to work out probably a little bit more in your favor. Certainly better than if you wait for everybody else to come into the marketplace, right? And you're probably saying, yeah, Bert, but you know, refinance, that costs money. Yes, it does. I don't know, what's a refi? I'm not less licensed in lending. I'm a real estate broker. You know, I'm not licensed in lending, but I can tell you that, I don't know, refi costs what, $5,000? $6,000 to refinance? But you're already in the house, the perfect house for you, for your family. You're already in that house. And you negotiate a fair price. And yes, even some closing costs, like I'm saying. Maybe some repairs. I mean, I don't know. Every case is different. But guess what? When people are fighting over those houses and you're willing to overpay a little bit, try to take that same $5,000 or $6,000 that you could otherwise get into a house now and use for a refinance, and use those $5,000 or $6,000 and say, okay, I'm willing to overpay $5,000 or $6,000. Here's you're going to lose the bid, because when people are fighting over houses, and they will again, then, and in the multiple offer situations, try only offering 5 or 6K, what you would otherwise pay for a refi, and try to offer that to overpay for the house. Is not going to be enough, because somebody else is overpaying a lot more than that, right? You're going to lose. You're going to lose out on those bids. So don't wait for people to more people to get into rates to come down, and for more people to flood into the marketplace to compete against you. Think about instead doing what I've been telling you to do for the past, whatever it is, 6 months, year, whatever. Date the rate and marry the house. I think we're hearing that a lot more, that sentiment. But don't believe what they're telling you on the news. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the sensationalism, because that's what it is, right? They're all vying for eyeballs, right? So the more negative the media can be, the better off it is for them, because they get more people watching or reading or whatever it is, their type of media. So I'm Realtor Bert today. Hopefully this has been of service to you and you found this content interesting. Be sure to like my page wherever you're watching this, on whatever platform. Like my page, follow the page, maybe even turn on notifications. Who knows? Ring the bell, as they say, and you'll be notified whenever I go live on this particular platform, so you can get a little bit more educational content that I'm happy to provide as a free service to our real estate community, right, in San Antonio. So I'm Realtor Bert today. I'm broker owner of Santino Properties, LLC, a boutique brokerage which specializes in the unique and effective use of marketing to help buyers and sellers win in a competitive real estate marketplace. So that's it for now. Once again, thank you for watching my video. I hope this was of service to you.